Local farmers, businesses, and community members came together to have a conversation about healthy eating and race.
Good Food Battle Creek, we provide information and education around issues relating to the food movement, and then provide networking and educational opportunities for the folks that are interested.
In partnership with the Fair Food Network, has invited Erase to come and facilitate a conversation about the intersection of racism and food justice.
So when you first think about it, food and race, issues of race, they have nothing in common with each other, but actually the opposite is true.
People do not understand the implications and the connections of racism, systemic and structural, institutional inequality, and food and how people have access to food.
How race pressures us to live out these identities in regards to the food that we eat and the food that we prepare. How culture and race impacts our perceptions about food.
20% of our nation's population has had some time in the past month when they were concerned about where they were going to get their next meal, or they missed a meal.
The kids wake up and they don't have food to eat, so they're hungry. So they get to school, they might be cranky because they're hungry. It's hard to concentrate. So the teachers are trying to teach this, these kids, but the kids are just thinking about how hungry they are, their stomach is churning, so it becomes an issue of learning for them.
So if you are a middle-income parent, you know that when your kids come home from school, they need a healthy snack. Well, if you are a low-income parent and you're working 2 jobs, you're not home when your kids actually get home from school.
We face the same challenges that other urban areas face in terms of food deserts, and that disproportionately affects people of color, minorities.
These food deserts can range from a lack of places that sell fresh and nutritious food, all the way up to issues of transportation. You know, those places are so far away that it's hard for folks that don't have a vehicle or don't have ready access to public transportation.
And you don't live within walking distance of a supermarket, your only option really is to go to the liquor store, the party store down the street, and what's offered there is not the most nutritious food. It's not going to really sustain you. It's not going to put you on the right footing.
You have to buy the least expensive food, and processed food is the least expensive food because it has a long shelf life.
The rates of chronic illness rise.
Poor communities and people of color communities have higher incidences of diabetes or stress.
This workshop is designed to help folks to create a language and to create opportunities for folks to come together around issues related to race as they pertain to issues of food.
All of these things are dynamic and intersecting, and until and unless we pull it apart and pull the strands apart, look at them, provide an analysis of why our systems are set up this way, our communities don't have the capacity, the language, the education, the understanding to have a clear and collective conversation with one another. So then we end up talking past each other.
That's built into the institutions, into farming, into transportation, into housing, all of these things. You know, we may not intend for there to be a race element to these institutions, but it's there.
If people of color and white people cannot begin to have this conversation together, then we will not break down barriers, and we will continue to perpetuate the systems that have been set up.
But what works, around the country and in other parts of Michigan may not be the best practice for here in Battle Creek. So we've got about 60 folks that are in there that are committed to this work, who are learning more about what it takes to have a community that provides equal access to all members of the community and not just the ones that can afford it.
Get involved in the local food movement is the first, I think, and most important thing that everyone can do.
Learn more about what it is that you're taking into your body. Learn more about what your kids are eating.
If you have land, offer it up for a community garden.
Visit your farmer's market. You know, go there and just take a look at the foods that they have.
You're supporting the local farmer to keep the food, to keep the dollars in the community, supporting the local economy. It's as if you vote with your dollars.
Raise chickens in your backyard if you're allowed to do that in your community. Go to the city commission meetings.
A CSA where you provide money upfront to the farmer, and the farmer will grow your food for you and will supply you with fresh food throughout the growing season.
Every community has the right to determine from where their food comes, what they're going to eat and how they're going to eat it.
Just because you might not be a person of color, just because you might be of means and not be affected by issues of food, that at a systems level, at a community level, sooner or later you are going to be affected.
Our continued existence on this earth is about us loving and caring for one another. Somebody you know is concerned about where their next meal is coming from, and you love those people. We all have an investment in this.
I'm Chris Mills for Connecting with Community.